However, have you ever wondered about why humans enjoy sex while animals don't? Or maybe they do enjoy sex? If you are curious to find out the reason behind this, welcome to Why Factory, where we will be answering one of the biggest questions of your life. Animals and, well, sex is always an interesting topic. So today, let us look at the 10 mind-boggling facts about animals and sex. Have you ever seen turtles have sex? Well, if you did not, you should listen to this clip. It sounds as if someone is blowing a horn, but in reality, it is the sound they make while having sex. Sex is supposed to end well, but did you know? Black widow spiders eat their male partners right after having sex with them. It seems rather cruel, doesn't it? Having protection while having sex and getting tested for STDs is something that we heard for quite a long time. If you ever feel like slacking off, just look at koalas. 90% of koalas have an STD called chlamydia that can cause severe disease in these species. Which creature would not need Viagra? Any guesses? Yes, it is the male alligators because they have a permanent erection without an intake of pills. We are sure that many people would be browsing upon a male alligator's secret behind his permanent erection. Female kangaroos have a total of 3 vaginas. Now, you might be wondering why they would need 3 vaginas. All marsupial mammals who carry their babies in pouches have a similar vaginal structure. The middle vagina is purely for giving birth to the baby, while the other 2 are for carrying the sperm to the eggs. What are you willing to lose in exchange for having sex? Ask this question to male honeybees and you would be baffled by the response because they lose their penises in the mating process. Well, that is quite sad now. Who said that homosexuality was not normal in the animal kingdom? Sheep have one of the highest rates of homosexuality in nature. Shocking, isn't it? It is normal for a female to get pregnant, but male? If this piqued your interest, you should check out seahorses because they are the only species where the male partners become pregnant. Humans are not the only species that engage in prostitution. Research has found out that female penguins engage in a form of prostitution. Wondering, why do they do that? In exchange for these sexual favors with male penguins, they collect pebbles for building nests for their babies. Drowning misery in alcohol is not a habit that is limited to humans. In fact, fruit flies that fail at finding a mate end up drinking more alcohol than fruit flies who found a mate. We do not know how they got their supplies though. They seem to have their own sources. Now that we have covered 10 facts about having sex and mating, let us come to the main question that we are going to answer. It is interesting to note that sexual reproduction has existed for around 2 billion years now, and yet enjoying sex is a relatively new concept. The answer to why humans enjoy sex lies in their sexual evolution. Having sex induces a feeling of pleasure and satisfaction in humans, and in essence, this is the main reason why humans enjoy it. A human sexual response cycle usually includes 4 stages. The first stage is the excitement that is marked by flushed skin, an accelerated heartbeat, and breathing, an increased blood flow to the genitals, swelling of man's testicles, and other changes in the body. This is followed by the second stage, the plateau. During the stage, you can find an escalation and a magnification and all the physical changes that you already experienced in stage 1. The clitoris becomes receptive and sensitive to touch, which magnifies the whole experience. You might also experience muscle spasms. The third phase is orgasm, which is the apex of all the physical changes that you might experience. Involuntary muscle contractions, a sudden release of sexual tension, peak breathing rate, and a flush are quite common in this stage. Apart from this, there are rhythmic contractions of muscles at the penis base, which leads to semen ejaculation and contractions in the uterus and vaginal muscles too. While women can have multiple orgasms, men need to wait it out for some time, and with growing age, this waiting period only increases. Stage 4 is resolution, wherein your body returns to a state of normalcy, and this is when you have an increased sense of well-being and intimacy with your partner. This is all about the physical changes, but during sex, your brain creates its own pleasure center. The release of the oxytocin hormone makes you feel happier and safer than you were, and this can be an instant mood booster. Having sex not only induces pleasure, but also creates intimate and vulnerable moments wherein the physical and emotional bonds start to develop and solidify. The increased sense of belonging and emotional satisfaction are just a few of the primary reasons why humans enjoy sex to a crazy extent. However, the kingdom of Animalia is not that benevolent towards all the species that walk on this earth. Male octopuses, male phascogale, and many other male species die right after mating with a female. If this seems tragic, wait until you check out the further part of this video. The wilds are more focused on carrying their familial legacy forward. For instance, male black widow spiders sometimes readily sacrifice themselves to their partners. The females then store these sperms so that they can later fuse with the eggs. Mating with other spiders would mean that the first spider's sperms would be discarded. However, research has found that females reject subsequent partners if they practice cannibalism with their first partner. Now, sexual cannibalism is not a trait that is just exhibited in the black widow spiders. Praying mantis, scorpions, and green anacondas also exhibit this form of cannibalism. Although it seems rather cruel to eat the partner that induces sexual gratification, the main objective here is raising healthy offspring. The nutrition that they obtain from eating their male partners keeps them going through gestation. And yes, here, the male partners play the roles of heroes that you usually find in movies. Sacrificing themselves for the sake of their babies is not so uncommon in the animal kingdom after all. For years, sex has only been viewed as a means to reproduce and bring offspring into the world. From mating wars to losing lives, the wilds have seen it all. So is all of it just for the continuity of their genes? The short answer is no. Not all animals view sex as a means to bring their babies into the world. The most primitive explanation would be a motivating factor. There has to be a drive to reproduce in order for an animal to engage in mating. Pleasure is said to be that motivator. On one hand, animals ensure that their lineage is being carried forward, and on the other hand, they experience sexual pleasure. Comparing the sexual pleasures that humans experience with those of animals would be an unfair comparison because sex is an experiential phenomenon and every animal has a different threshold for their pleasure. To find out whether animals have sex only for procreation or not, studies on sex among two or more males or females or with one of the partners being immature have been pursued. For instance, mature bonobos try to obtain carnal pleasure with juveniles or with females who cannot get pregnant at the moment. Similarly, a lioness has sex about 100 times a day over a week. However, it only takes one sperm for the egg to fertilize, and yet this does not stop the lioness from mating with multiple partners. However, many might argue that is a survival strategy since adult male lions who mated with a lioness would not hurt their cubs. So, does the answer to whether animals have sex for fun remain inconclusive? Another way to find out if animals experience a pleasure factor was by studying female orgasms. A group of Italian researchers spent roughly 238 hours studying the copulation between Japanese macaques. About one-third of these copulations showed signs of female orgasmic responses, like the females turning their heads towards their partners and grasping them. Researchers have also found that animals too engage in oral sex. Aha! The animal kingdom is not devoid of oral sex. Animals like goats, primates, fruit bats seem to engage in oral sex. Similarly, female cheetahs and lionesses rub their male partner's genitals as a ritual of courtship. Although the way we perceive and engage in sex is quite different from the rest of the animal kingdom, we can for sure conclude that sex is an activity that induces pleasure and satisfaction in most animals, irrespective of their intelligence levels. The evolutionary origin made sure that humans and non-humans experience sexual and carnal pleasures. The urge to seek this pleasure out is so powerful that animals engage in sex even when conception is close to impossible or undesirable. Mating is not just a primal instinct, but an urge and a powerful desire to attain rewards. With the overwhelming amount of evidence, it is hard to deny that the animal kingdom perceives sex as a delightful activity. Make sure you like, share this video, and subscribe to the Y Factory. Do you think animals have fun while mating? Comment below. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.